And, you know, we got wind of the arrest from your post yesterday, telling us that you were present in court. Explain to us how exactly this transpired.
So, Mr. Sowore had a case before the Federal High Court yesterday. As you are aware, there are quite a number of criminal charges that have been filed by the Inspector General of Police against Sowore, either for himself, that is IGP Ebetoko, or for some other interests, like Senator Nenwoko and a few others. So yesterday, one of those cases, specifically the one where the IGP claimed that Sowore was wrong by referring to him as illegal IGP, in quotes, came up yesterday and coincided with the continuation of trial in the case of Nnamdi Kanu. Upon the conclusion of the proceedings, Mr. Sowore was exiting the premises of the Federal High Court in Abuja when a retinue of police officers basically waylaid him in front of the Federal High Court in Abuja. Initially, they claimed that, they were not coming to arrest him. The Commissioner of Police FCT had directed them to bring him before him, essentially to take him into custody. And one would have thought that civilized policing demands that they would send an invitation to him. He was not invited, either by phone call, text message, or letter. So they arrested him, took him to the FCT command, where he met a deputy commissioner of police who claimed that he shouldn't have led protesters to demand for the release of Nnamdi Kanu. After which they took him to a place infamously known as former SARS Abattoir, a place notorious for the killing, slaughter, extortion of Nigerians by the disbanded and now rebranded Special Anti-Robbery Squad. He is currently being detained there. I went to that facility myself. A couple of my colleagues also went there, who are associates of Mr. Sowore. I was denied access to him, despite all the effort that I made, on the basis that I first have to seek clearance from the Commissioner of Police FCT before I could see him. Now, I have listened to the commentaries of Mr. CSP Benjamin Ondeyin, the first public relations officer, where he has said, or where he stated, that they arrested Mr. Sowore because, according to him, it is only fair that having arrested about 13 others, and those persons in their statement indicated that it was Sowore who led them, that it would be unfair to arrest them for protesting, in his own words, in certain restricted areas, without also arresting and prosecuting Mr. Sowore. What bothers me is that I know the gentleman Benjamin Ondeyin from Lagos when he was the police PRO in Lagos. And some of us had cause to work with him, and we felt that he was a fine police officer. But this is Abuja, the capital of iniquity in our country, the capital of corruption in our country, where even people with good intentions are so easily compromised. So I'm not surprised that Ben Ondeyin will make such careless, very utterly irresponsible commentaries, on national television, to say that they arrested Sowore simply in the spirit of fairness, not because he has committed any offense. But let us even get to the substance of the matter. What is the allegation against Sowore? They are saying that Sowore participated or led protests in certain public places in Abuja, which, according to them, the police had gotten an order of court preventing protests for the release of Nnamdi Kanu from holding in those places. The said places include the villa or anywhere close to the villa, the Eagle Square, Shegu Shagari Way, the Court of Appeal, the National Assembly, and a few other places, and the first headquarters. Now, what is the crime that has been committed? Assuming without considering, because at this time we are not even considering that the protest took place in all those places. I, for example, am not aware, you can correct me, that people went to the villa to protest. I am not aware that Sowore was at the National Assembly to protest. I am also not aware that Sowore went to the Court of Appeal to protest, or any other person who has been arrested in connection with this protest. So, pending when the police is able to tell us where exactly these restricted places are, that people actually defied the order of the court and protested, we will still have to give them the benefit of doubt. But assuming the protest actually took place in those places, has any crime been committed? My answer is no, because in a worst case scenario, they will be talking about contempt of court. They can say they are in contempt. But I submit to you that as of this morning, I say on my honor that I have not seen any indication that either Sowore or any other protester is in contempt of court. I have read a copy of the order parroted by the police, made, by the, I use the word parroted advisedly, because in the order by the Honorable Justice G.M. Umar of the Federal High Court Abuja, my Lord essentially made about 4 orders. In the first order, the judge restricted protesters from certain places. In the second order, the judge circumscribed the time within which the defendants are supposed to respond to the suits filed by the police. He had breached the time. That is, he limited the time that they are supposed to respond to 9 a.m. on Monday the 20th. The third order made, interestingly, I want you to take note of this. I have the order here in my cell phone. I can even read it out to you. The third order of the learned judge is very interesting. It says, the order of this court, together with the motion on notice, be served on the respondents today, Friday the 17th of October 2025. The 40th case adjourned to 20th October 2025. This is the order of the court. I am willing to provide this to you for you to see it. What does this mean? What this simply means is that when the learned judge made this order, the judge knew that by law, an order of court is binding on a party or a person if certain preconditions are met. Number one, the person that the order seeks to bind must be a party to that action. Secondly, the order must be served on that person. So the judge was not mistaken when my lord ordered that the order be served on the police. As I am having this interview this morning with you, today, the 24th day of October, neither Sowore nor any other protester was served by the police with this order, either on the 17th of October, Friday, as ordered by the learned judge, or even as at this moment. So technically, they cannot say that Sowore has breached an order that has not been served on him. But assuming that the order was even served.
So Mr. Effiong, the arrest of Mr. Sowore and others is an exercise in illegality by implication of what you have read and explained to us now. Am I correct?
It is not only illegality. It is an act of executive recklessness, because they are saying, and don't forget that the basis upon which this said order was made is the application filed based on the deposition of the police. The police went to court through their counsel. That is, the police submitted itself to the jurisdiction of the court, got an order which they have not fulfilled. If anyone is in contempt of the order of the Federal High Court, it is the Inspector General of Police and the Nigeria Police Board that is in contempt.
All right. Let's assume that this order was served on any of the protesting parties now. Mr. Hundeyi has led us to believe that the other arrested members of the protesting team explained that it was Mr. Sowore that led them to protest in those areas restricted by the court, and that explains why they had to arrest him. Are you suggesting that, by your explanation now, that Mr. Hundeyi was lying? Because you have said that you don't have it you don't know for sure that they approached or infringed on the court order, that they didn't approach any of these areas, the court, the Supreme Court, the Aso Villa, the police headquarters, National Assembly. So is Mr. Ondeyi lying?
I think I will not say lying. He's still my friend. I will say that he's entirely mistaken. He's misguided. Mr. Benjamin Ondeyi is only speaking to please his bosses. He knows that what he's saying is not the correct position. Now, when those individuals say Sowore led them in a protest, is that a crime in Nigeria to protest or to lead people in protest? And I needed to address a point because I don't want Nigerians to just trivialize this issue. I have seen the first information reports that the police has filed. Let me show you how embarrassing this whole drama is. Guess what? In the charge that they have filed against the other individuals, which I believe is the same charge they are going to file against Sowore, or the first information report, you know what they are alleging? They are alleging that they have violated Section 152 of the Penal Code. What does Section 152 of the Penal Code provide for? Disobedience of order duly promulgated by public servants. If I could just quickly read what it says to you. Whoever knowing that by an order promulgated by a public servant legally empowered to promulgate such order, he is directed to abstain from certain acts or take certain action with respect to certain property in possession or under his management. This law they claim they have violated is if you flout an order made by a public servant and you don't only flout it, you knowingly flout it in respect of certain property. This law, the disobedience the police is alleging in court, is in respect of property. Whether it is a house or a vehicle or some other chattel. So when they say that they are taking a case to court, this is just a clear abuse of the legal system. The law under which they are claiming these individuals have violated, including Sowore, has no correlation, no connection with what actually took place, which is the protest.
Mr. Inibehe,
I don't understand what they are saying. It simply doesn't make any sense to me.
All right, Mr. Inibehe, let's further unpack a few things. I've seen the court order, as you've promised to do so. I see that the Honorable Judge did not stop the protest. What the Honorable Judge did was to restrict, as expected, as maybe the police puts it to them to, as the brief the police sent to maybe the relief police sought from the court, said, the respondent are hereby restrained in the interim from protesting in the following areas. They listed Aso Rock Villa, anywhere close to the Villa, the National Assembly, the Force Headquarters, Court of Appeal, Eagle Square, and Sheikh Shagari Way, pending the hearing of the motion on notice. So, first, I can see here that protest was not stopped by the court, that areas were restricted where protests could occur. On the other hand, of course, it's an ex parte, but let's talk about the law here and what is the premise. So I can also see here that the third order said the order of this court, together with a motion on notice, be served on the respondent today, Friday, October the 17th, which was that day. So now you're saying that, or you're claiming that the order was not served as instructed by the court. What happens in law if an order was to, if this was to be served on the respondent and they were not served? Does it stop them from carrying out their protest?
Excellent question. But let me quickly inform Nigerians. The places that I know verifiable, and you had correspondents who covered this protest, that this protest actually took place, are Utako, Apo Mechanic, Gudu Junction. I think some persons went to Transcorp. But these are the places identifiable that this protest actually took place. I am not aware that the Eagle Square is in Utako, that Court of Appeal is at Utako, that the Unity, the other places listed in the order are either in Utako, Apo Mechanic, or Gudu Junction. Or even those who went to Transcorp. I'm not aware, right, that any of these places. You can look at the order. You have the order before you. Transcorp was not listed. Look at it. You have the order.
So Inibehe, where were they?
I'm saying that.
My apologies. In addition to your response, the people that the police arrested, I'm sure when people are arrested and they are entering their document, it will be stated where they were arrested. Have you been able to see that as well? Because the claim of the police, which you have rightly put and which this order is saying they were restricted, is that these persons went to protest in areas that the court has said, don't go near those places. Do your protest anywhere else, but not here. The police say, we've arrested certain persons who went to these places, and they are all mentioning Sowore that led them. So, for fairness, they had to bring in Sowore. So, did they arrest these persons anywhere apart from these places?
When it comes to the Nigeria police force, and I say this with all sense of responsibility, and filing charges in court, the police lies for a living. I have seen this case after case. I can give you litany of cases, including the ones I have been involved with, where police will make averments in court that are completely false. Perjury has become part of the Nigeria police. So if they are going to file a charge on a false information report to say, I mean, it doesn't even make sense. You covered the protest. Channel TV covered the protest. Did you see Sowore at the villa? Did you see Sowore at the Court of Appeal? Did you see Sowore at the Eagle Square? But assuming that they even protested at those places, which is a question you asked previously, can they be prosecuted? The answer is no, because the procedure in law for punishing contempt is clear. And this contempt, they are alleging, arises from a civil action filed by the same police. If a party disobeys an order of court, the only authority, the only institution that has jurisdiction to inquire into the allegation of that disobedience is the court that makes that order. How do you do that? You simply file a motion before the court to commit that person to prison. So what the police has done, assuming without considering that the protest actually took place in those places, is resorting to serve help. The judge who made this order has not been informed that his own order has been violated. The police has not taken the steps required by law for the enforcement of that order. So for you to file a charge based on section 152 of the Penal Code that is in respect of property, if a property is in your possession or in the possession of another person, and the court says don't enter that property or hand over that property and disobey, and you disobey that order, then you can be prosecuted. To bring a charge under a section of the law that has no connection with what we are dealing with, it is a sign of executive recklessness. I would have said illiteracy. The police has a retinue of lawyers. I mean, look at the number of lawyers from the police that were just called to the bar. The IGP received them. Is this not an embarrassment to those colleagues of mine? Looking at, listening, watching how the police, the institution that they are part of, is embarrassing our country, is jeopardizing the legal system, and making mockery of everything. So, number one, I want to place on record, I am not aware that the order was violated, and I have challenged you. Show me evidence that this order was actually violated. Number two, we cannot even speak about violation because the condition precedent to the applicability and enforcement of that order, which the court acknowledged in number 3, which you have read, is that that order must be served on the respondents on the 17th of October. They did not serve that order. That order was not effective. That order cannot be said to have been violated. And assuming they even served, I have shown you, I have explained to you, that the correct approach in law is to go back to the judge that made the order.
All right. Mr. Effiong, as we wind down now, the President's Senior Special Assistant on Media, Mr. Bayo Onanuga, has been speaking on the participation of Mr. Aloy Ejimakor in the protest. I'm quoting from his verified Twitter handle now, X handle. He said, as a lawyer, you should be aware of the principle of sub judice, particularly in relation to the ongoing treason case before the court. The prosecution has concluded its case, and it's now incumbent on Mr. Ejimakor and the other lawyers to mount a strong defense for Kanu. He said, rather than focus on preparing a strong case, Mr. Ejimakor has resorted to extra legal tactics, joining a career anarchist to influence the process. Was it wrong for Mr. Ejimakor to participate in the protest?
What was he protesting? That is the first question. You know, in this country, we sometimes listen to some of these public officers and we cannot be amused. When Mr. Onanuga made that comment, did he tell you what Mr. Ejimakor was protesting against? Was he protesting against the judge? The answer is no. Was he protesting against the witnesses listed that testified against Kanu? The answer is no. Was he even protesting, right, against the trial of Kanu? Can you show me one video where Mr. Ejimako made a comment prejudicial to the trial? There is no provision. And I want a lawyer in Nigeria to come and contradict me. Because I've listened to some of my colleagues, including some senior advocates of Nigeria, quite sadly, come on television to mislead Nigerians. I am putting it on record this morning that there is no law, there is no provision of the rules of professional conduct for legal practitioners 2025 that prohibits a lawyer that is involved in litigation from commenting on that litigation, from commenting on that suit. What our rules of conduct, rules of ethics prevents is making comments prejudicial to the case. That is comment that tends to preempt the outcome or that tends to basically take over the conduct of the case. So assuming that Mr. Alo Ejimako had, during the protest, granted an interview and said, for example, oh, this judge that is trying Nnamdi Kanu, I can put it to you, is biased. This judge has been compromised. The witnesses, we are going to deal with them. The witnesses are not credible. The exhibit that was tendered was fabricated. If he had made those comments along those lines, one can maybe suggest that he had made comments prejudicial to the trial. That is why when you see public, serious cases take place, right, cases of public interest after the hearing, you will see the media. You have judicial correspondence. Go to the Federal High Court this morning after you are done interviewing me. Go and you see lawyers that have concluded cases of public interest. They address the media. It is not strange. It is not a violation of the law. It is what you say that matters. But let us even take the conversation further. Are you saying that because the legal practitioner is right to freedom of expression under Section 39 is extinguished? Are you saying that he has no right to express himself, to articulate his position as a Nigerian because he's a counsel on record to Nnamdi Kanu? I think what we are seeing is a further shrinking of the civic space. Let me maybe, I don't know how much time I have, but let me, in rounding up, make this point. Recently, the media has been awash, right, by this quite sad news, unfortunate news, that some soldiers have been arrested for allegedly planning to stage a coup. I believe you have seen those reports. The question is, we don't want a coup in Nigeria. The point is that we don't want any coup in Nigeria. I'm totally against it. But can you say today that the Tinubu regime, the Tinubu government, has not waged a coup against the constitution of our country? That can you tell me this morning that there is no coup against the democracy in this country? Because the moment you begin to say people cannot protest in the villa, people cannot protest in the Igu Square, people cannot protest Sheku Shagari Way, do you want Nigerians in Abuja to go to Sambisa Forest to protest? Do you want people to go to the forest to protest?
All right.
This is a clear indication that this government has no respect for the rule of law. Look at the No Kings protests in US. Millions of Americans took over a lot of places in the US. Go to the White House today, you can find Americans protesting. Go to number 10 in London. You can find people in UK protesting in front of the Prime Minister's residence. What is sacred about the villa that Nigerians cannot protest? What is sacred about the National Assembly? If I cannot go to the National Assembly to protest, where am I supposed to protest? This Tinubu presidency, here is a president who took part in protest. Here are people in power, the APC, that came to power based on protest. Today, they are criminalizing protests, they are stigmatizing those who are holding placards, while the same government is romancing bandits that is using AK-47 to kill Nigerians, giving amnesty to criminals while attacking people that are holding a placard. This is not how to build a democracy. You cannot say you want a democracy, you don't want a coup, and at the same time, you are attacking the legitimate right of Nigerians to protest. Let the government be serious. Let us stop this weaponization of the legal system, trivialization of the rule of law, making a mockery of the judicial system. Enough is enough. Nigerians must be respected. The rest of Nigerians to respect themselves is sacrosanct. And we are not going to relinquish on those rights.